Hey everybody, hope you are well. This is going to be a relatively short video inspired by the release of Apple iOS 14.5, the new version. The version that essentially means that if an application is tracking you on your phone, let me grab my phone, here it is. If an application is tracking you on your phone, you can stop it, you can control it. You have more control than ever before as to how your data is being used on your device. Now this, unsurprisingly, has upset Facebook. Facebook's business model is essentially built on data. Google's business model, to an extent, is built on data. Facebook certainly is. Lots of organizations and companies who've become incredibly wealthy in the last few years, and certainly probably increased their wealth or grown during the pandemic, rely on data and the data they take from users. Now, users are in two camps. Three camps. There's the camp that's a tinfoil hat and doesn't want to use anything because they're so scared. There's the user who takes the view, well, it's a trade-off. I realize that my data is a currency and I'm paying for the service by sacrificing my data. But there's also the user who just says, well, I'm going to give you everything and I don't care. And I don't even realize what sort of data is being taken from me. Suddenly, with this new release of iOS, which we may see other vendors following suit or other operating systems following suit. I can see Windows taking a similar approach at some point, you never know. And I would assume that Android is going to be very much on the fence, given who creates it, we will see. But it may mean that people become more aware of the data that's being used and taken. It may mean that they become more controlling of it. It may mean that they just give access to the apps as much as before, or apps start to reduce their usefulness. I don't know. But I think it could be an absolute game changer. I personally think that, and I've mentioned this before, people get scared of big tech. And I think people get scared of big tech because they haven't really understood how it works or what they're doing or the transactions they're making in terms of personal data and then the power that big tech has. I would say that to a certain extent, a lot of governments don't really understand big tech. We're seeing all these various antitrust cases, and they're not really digging below the surface as to what's caused the issue or why these companies have so much power. But that reason is data. And I feel like with this new release, Apple, who, again, data is an important thing to them, but they probably do better in terms of non-personal data, in terms of selling analytics. And of course, they make a lot of money of hardware. Let's face it, some people will buy anything that Apple releases. I used to be like that. I'm a little bit more discerning now, though. I did end up buying some AirTags, which was because I keep losing things. There we go. But I'd be interested in your comments. I would be very curious to see how the technology companies react. We've already seen that Apple's finding itself in a couple of lawsuits. Apple and Epic are still fighting. It'll be interesting to see what Facebook does next in terms of their way that Apple is approaching things, whether they feel that suddenly the operating system on an Apple device is at odds with the way that their and other businesses work. And I don't see how that issue is going to be resolved. I also don't see how it would work in terms of if there was a lawsuit, because it comes back to what we were talking earlier about the right to apps when Trump was trying to ban various things such as TikTok. Is the right to an app on a storefront, a digital storefront owned by a company, is that absolute? Or does the company have the right to sell whatever it was and withdraw something from a storefront as and when it wishes? If you ran a shop, would you feel aggrieved if you ran a shop, if someone was requiring you to sell their products? You probably would. So we'll have to wait and see. I liken it to saying if you owned a greengrocer shop and you were forced to sell melons that stole someone's personal data, that would be a very odd experience. But interested in your thoughts. Have you downloaded, are you using iOS 14.5? Have you taken advantage of the fact that now apps can no longer track you as easily as they could before? Or do you just not care and you just want to carry on with using things you did before? Let me know. In the meantime, have a great week. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.